Joining me now in the studio is Douglas Herbert, our international affairs commentator. Douglas, Julian Assange was once a household name, but we haven't heard from him recently. Remind us who exactly he is and what was WikiLeaks?
Yeah, where does his notoriety come from? Look, depending where you stand, Julian Assange is either a champion of government transparency, a champion of press freedoms, or he is a dangerous threat to national security, a man who recklessly endangers lives and violates all the moral and ethical principles of real journalism. So that's a debate. How he got the notoriety. You'll remember WikiLeaks. It goes way back to 2007. But the issues at the center of this case really began in April 2010. Let's bring up, so our viewers can see, I sort of bullet pointed some of the main things. There was the video footage that he obtained with the help of a transgender U.S. soldier named Chelsea Manning, video footage from a U.S. Apache helicopter attack in Baghdad back in the early days of the occupation, U.S. occupation. At least 9 civilians killed in that attack, including 2 journalists, a Reuters news photographer and his driver. Then, July-October 2010, you had a trove of classified documents in net. These were war documents relating to U.S. military activities in both Iraq and Afghanistan. About 90,000 classified documents with Iraq, about 400,000 top-secret documents with Afghanistan, all sorts of info, things about civilian deaths, things relating to the hunt for then Osama bin Laden, the most wanted terrorist. November 2010 to September 2011, over a period of a year, you had what was called Cablegate. That was the State Department cables, a whole dump, another trove of about 250,000 unredacted diplomatic cables dating back to 1966, including a lot of secrets like U.S. going after the info on UN representatives, things like information on drones, secret drone attacks on Yemen, so on and so forth. Those are the issues at the heart of the case. They go right up to this court case today.
So what is this 2-day hearing all about, and how did we get here?
Yeah, well, we got here, Julian Assange got to court from Belmarsh Prison, where he has been since 2019. You'll remember prior to that, Annette, he was holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for many years until he was arrested by British police. This is where the legal sort of cascade kicks off. The U.S. in 2019 asked for his extradition. A British high court a couple of years later overruled that, saying, yeah, he was reckless. He may have posed a threat to lives. We got that U.S. argument. But we also think there are legitimate press freedom concerns here. So they said, put that on hold. U.S. overturned that ruling. Right now, he is in court on what's seen as a last-ditch effort to appeal, to have a final appeal not to be extradited. His lawyers say if he goes to the U.S., he faces the Espionage Act, a 1917 measure that was really meant to protect national security against anyone giving away any war secrets or any such information. It's been very controversial. His lawyers fear he could face up to 175 years in prison, something U.S. prosecutors say is hogwash. It's more like 4 to 7 years probably. They're even suggesting he could serve in Australia.
And he certainly has some prominent defenders, many of them actually only recently declaring their support for Julian Assange.
It's very interesting. When you look for his defenders' arguments, a lot of them find him to be, if not loathsome, very unsavory. They think he's a very unsympathetic character. They say this is a man who has cozied up to dictatorships, notably Vladimir Putin, even worked with Russian intelligence on that trove of information compromising the Democratic Committee during the 2016 campaign. Hillary Clinton's campaign. He refused to release Russian intelligence on WikiLeaks pertaining to Russian activities, military and intelligence in Ukraine. So he's seen as dictator-friendly and bashing democracies, not an equal opportunity WikiLeaker, if you will. But the defenders say, for all he may be objectionable, and they include people like the former editor of The Guardian, Reporters Without Borders, they say the concerns about press freedom are legitimate, that there is an investigative right of journalists at the heart of this case, even if he's not a journalist in the purest sense, because he's seen as violating many ethical codes of journalism. At the same time, they say that if you were to prosecute him under this Espionage Act, you would be dealing a big blow to the independence of journalists to go after hard-hitting information that journalists have a right to get and need to get in the public interest.
Douglas Herbert, thank you so much.